All right. So, where to start for the day? How about with getting up in the morning? Woke up with a very strong urge to overcome urge. And that's how I began the day. But it's about reorienting urge to serve your own benefit. What is benefit? Obviously, that's something that is derived from desire. For in what you desire will give you a sense of orientation in regards to what benefits you when you receive pleasure by attaining what you desire. Well, for me this morning, that was simply, let's see, the ability to be above the secret machines that lure in those would-be victims through their dark and misty ways, and entrance those with what is to be a comfortable isolation that ends up being a prison of ice, where what keeps one warm while being surrounded by so much space is what eventually keeps one within that place. So, got up, got up on top of the hilltop and made my rounds to actually all 3 exercise facilities. Went and sat in on some girl's presentation about supplements, just for the hell of it, and gave her some information in regards to truly a higher way to receive supplementation, and that is through the immersion of the creation of said supplementation, which then reinvigorates the experience that it took to create the product every time it is used by the user on a much more sensual level. Sensual in the way that it's reinvigorating to the body and the mind, and all the mannerisms that took place in regards to harvesting, preparation, procedure, and then ultimately containment, and then usage. The woman herself made me think of a thought that I've been having recently about retardation, where in the unwillingness for one to move beyond what they've figured out, but it's like the conversation that I had with Ross the other day, where ultimately, what is a maze? Because we can say that we've figured out the maze, right? But then life likes to switch up the maze and reorient the way the stairs rise and fall and where the windows are placed. But really, what is life? And does not any maze which fulfills its purpose actually fulfill the same purpose? And so, in knowing this, every maze is already solved. In that, for it to be so, it ultimately fulfills these purposes to give itself unto the one going through it. Now, is that to be retarded? To know that? Well, I think that there's a certain amount of retardation through perspective, in that what is retarded for in one who has traversed the bounds of all these things, they in themselves become a specialized case. And to those who have not done so, they seem as a figure in which they cannot necessarily communicate with. Right? But is truly then the definition holding still when we say, sure, I can understand that every maze is ultimately fulfilling the same end, but for one to understand that and still go through it, are they then actually operating beyond the one that most call retarded? But again, the rhetoric which came before still stands in regards towards when does one who has done so much then become the special case themselves. And it is reminding me of what I was talking about, the caste system, wherein which, we say he cannot do this, he cannot do that, and it's for the ultimate benefit of the order, which has led up to whatever action is now being held in such high regard or degree as to be unreproduced by any other than those who have fulfilled that order to such degree, right? And that is ultimately where, honestly, one who kind of contemplates upon such matters and uses a little bit of oddity can really just kind of transgress against such laws and perform on any level, ultimately frustrating the mechanism which tries to say that only this can be done by this through this order which has led up to this peak. Now, I heard a phrase, and sometimes it's like I'm going through certain things and I'm contemplating certain things as I'm going through the day, and I'll hear somebody say something, and to say that the words that are being spoken around you, aren't necessarily for you, holds some sway, but to a degree, you being in that place ultimately means that every word in there is more for you than not. For in you being in that place, it's showing your position in regards to, your personality at that time. And so most things going on wherever you are geared towards you, more so than them not being so. Because where you are says a lot about who you are and what is actually, for you. Now, obviously, there's multiple other factors that can be taken into consideration to gauge the amount that it is for you. But really, what isn't for one that's kind of going through this, And I think that a lot can be said about our unwillingness to actually have everything fit into place through perfect order. It becomes almost like a nightmare because such things only happen in dreams. But as soon as things such as that are playing out in real life, one could be called insane. And so we ourselves have this mechanism to keep ourselves from actually aligning with all the reasoning going on around us, to keep ourselves in the dark so that it isn't like a dream. Because if it was, then what meaning has it? If tomorrow I'll wake up from it and it will no longer be, what is the importance of all that I've done and what I identify with? I heard somebody say, he's going to figure it out. But to me, I walked away knowing that I've already figured it out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I still don't play the game in a way in which is suitable for my goals, which obviously are written down very extensively by my own hand. And they are the guideline, they are the wire that I myself follow, and I follow no one else's. And so I've already got it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, I'm going to just fall out of place with all of those key components toward maintaining the structure around me so that I can heighten its structure and create more definition within this structure. Raggy? Are you a school snack?
Are you going to sleep?
Me?
You've been going to bed at like 10:30 every night? I just don't know because I've been playing with friends.
You don't know because I'm in the bungalow.
No. Alright.
So,
Is this your jacket?
anyways.
Sorry, Austin.
There's nothing to be sorry about. But after that, went and had a nice long chat with the chap who just blessed this soundbite with his presence. So, yeah. Now, after doing that, I went and, let's see, made myself some breakfast and whatever else, and went on a nice long walk. And I finished up another one of the books that I've been working on. All good stuff, all great stuff, all original stuff found nowhere else. You know? Yeah. So, I then made a little Lucky Charm, which I wish not to speak about at this time until the time comes for me to reveal its presence. But then I came back here and I had some nice, good, long conversations with the mom and with dad. And then had a really long, good conversation with some good buddies from the time before this time, who were, off doing their own thing, growing up, and was pretty exaggerated in my linguistics towards them, but it's kind of like I was talking about people drilling that well earlier. It's like, obviously I can function and I could finish all of this, and obviously I could just go through the motions as everybody else is, but obviously that is not what my desire is. And for me, I would lose so much by doing that in regards towards just this freedom of breath. The air. And just feeling its shifting ways, making me think I'm communicating with the body in motion as I inhale its presence and exhale my interaction with it, thinking that it is its own body. In the air is something that I think, like, all of us is searching for that experience, searching for beauty and love, and to be found where it no longer knows itself, so that it can rediscover itself in a new land, a new place. Thinking of such things just reminds me of all the work that I've turned in up at school, and I just hope that it's like actually, taken for truly what I feel as though I was awakening. You know, these bodies that were built upon and that I dawn upon every single day, that, you know, are part of my history, and who knows what I myself am a part of. Been wanting to talk about a little bit in regards to misrepresentation and creation of a state that is just far, far below through habitual trick-or-treating. Which keeps people guessing. And never knowing. And never full, as empty as the hand that feeds them. Is such why I've read portions within literatures which I feel no one ever speaks of, as to where they outline the ways in which those who have found themselves in this pit of despair continually add to their own pit by bringing in more people to dig the pit with them. But no one ever speaks of these words, they only speak of other words. For really, I don't think that they've read from the angles that I have. They just say the same things over and over and over. You know? And then it's as though those that are within that cycle wish to turn the cycle back upon me, which is then when I seek fresh air. And whether or not there is allowance, I am born when it's found, out of the place where it is not.